Good evening, everyone. This is the public information meeting for Main Street Project, City of Waupaca. This is our 5th public information meeting for the project. March 11th, 21, 5:30 p.m. I'm Justin Behrens, Director of Public Works for the City of Waupaca. To my right here is Roger Hansen, Street Superintendent. To my left is Aaron Jensen, City Administrator. And we have some other gentlemen here. We have Eric Witt from the Wisconsin DOT. We have Blake Elslinger, from Quest. And then we have Adam Gasser with Gerke Excavating. As many of you probably have known and heard, the Main Street project is from Badger Street up to Water Street. It's broken up into 2 phases. The first phase is from Fulton Street north, and the second phase is from Fulton Street south. We'll get into a little more detail of that in just a few seconds. This is a DOT local program project, which means the DOT has had oversight in this project from the very beginning. We'll continue to have oversight in it through the construction. That's why Eric is here. And then also, Gerke Excavating was hired through the DOT process, the bid process that they go through. And then Blake is here as part of the inspection with the DOT project. So with that, I'm going to just turn it over to Adam, who's going to go through the staging and the general timeline of the project.
Our plan currently is to start March 29th. With that first portion of the project, what we would do is close the Fulton Street intersection, would close for 3 days. In that time frame, we would replace some of the sanitary sewer through that intersection, just to kind of lay out groundwork for the north stage of the project. After that sanitary sewer is replaced, the road would get patched up and reopened. Then at that time, Main Street would close from the north side of Fulton Street all the way to the north end of the project. And we would start the reconstruction phase of the north side of the project. The pavement would be removed, all the utilities, the sanitary sewer, water service, and storm sewer will be removed and replaced. Then following that, we would start with grading work to get things ready for all the new concrete, curb, gutter, sidewalk, pavement, and the finishing items. Our goal is to have that north side of the project finished up around the middle of July. And then at that point, we would get into the second stage, the south stage of the project.
Okay. So all these gentlemen here will be heavily involved with this project and all the work that goes on with it. Their contact information will be put on the City of Waupaca website. For roadway items, issues, sidewalks, your primary contact will be Blake over there. Sewer and water, your primary contact is going to be myself and or Roger Hansen. The schedule that Adam just briefly went through, we'll also have one put on our website as well for distribution. Certainly, if you have comments on specifics, send them that our way and we'll answer them the best we can. This project, right now, Main Street is an asphalt road. When this is done, it's going to be a concrete road. We have concrete roadway, concrete curb and gutter, and concrete sidewalk. And with concrete work, it has to be saw cut. That's how it's done. That's where the joints are. And with that, so there'll be a lot of concrete sawing late into the evening. Most likely at the beginning of the day, I'm going to start the pour. It takes time for concrete to set up. And then in the evening, it'll be hard enough to start sawing. If we do not saw it at the appropriate time, it will crack and it will fail prematurely. So it's important. But it is a heads up that these guys will be working long hours out there, starting first thing in the morning and maybe well into the evening. One thing to note, or another thing to note, is the intersection of Fulton Street and Badger Street. The street signal or the traffic signals there will be removed with the project and put into a four-way stop configuration. With the staging of Fulton Street, the signals will initially be put into a red flash, and then eventually those signals will go away and it'll be controlled by just stop signs. The Granite Street intersection, when that is opened up and we switch over to stage 2, that intersection will be a four-way stop sign controlled intersection. So those are all traffic changes that are occurring downtown. The street lights, the existing street lights out there will be removed early on in the project or de-energized, making it a little bit dark downtown. We are working with WPS to try and get some temporary lighting or to increase the lighting while the existing ones are offline. So that's something we're working on and hope to have in place before this project starts. You guys have anything else to add?
We will be trying to have another meeting similar to this, probably right before the stage 2 that's anticipated to be about mid-July, the stage switch. So a few weeks before that, we'll probably have a similar meeting like this to go through the next stage. The amount of work to be done in the next stage is the type of work in the next stage is similar to this one, but we will just update everybody where we're at, schedule-wise. So you'll be looking for something probably towards the around the 4th of July, holiday, somewhere in there. We'll get a notification out for that, but just wanted to make everybody aware that there will be another one of these coming.
Justin, do you want to just rehash the time that we talked about earlier today? The confirmed start date was March 29th. So talk about that, and then we talked about that Fulton Street intersection being done the first 3 days.
Yep.
And then moving to the north, back to Fulton Street, back to the south. Do you want to just outline that for everybody quick?
Yeah. So the very beginning, so starting March 29th, the Fulton Street intersection, so this area here that's double hashed, will be shut down for 3 days. And that's, Gerke needs to do a little bit of utility work in there before we can switch over and head up north. So this intersection, Fulton and Main, will be completely shut down. That's March 29th, 30th, and 31st. Then after that, them 3 days, then we're going to switch to Fulton Street will be open. There will be some temporary asphalt there, which means it's going to be a little rougher than usual. I mean, our downtown's a little rough ride anyways, so it shouldn't be that big of a deal. But then the primarily amount of work is going to be north of the north side of Fulton Street. And it won't be till later, I don't remember the exact date, when we come back to that end of April. Is that correct, Adam?
Roughly the middle of May, and then we would close it again. Close again like May 17th, and then get it opened up. Kind of see how things go on that.
So right now, we're planning for late April,
It'll be May.
early May then. The Fulton Street intersection will be shut down fully once again, and that will be to bring all those items back to a brand-new roadway. So that's going to take approximately 3 weeks to finish this section, where it will be brand-new curb, brand new sidewalk, brand new pavement, brand new utilities underneath. 3 weeks to bring that up, and then go open Fulton Street up and then finish our work north of that. That will occur then until mid-July, at which point, Eric had mentioned we'll do another meeting. We'll give some more updates along the way, and then we expect everything north of Fulton Street, including Fulton Street, to be finished that mid-July time period, and then flip over and start reconstructing south of Fulton Street intersection down through Badger Street. So the Badger Street intersection will be completely closed. The Union Street intersection will be completely closed. So traffic around, we have these black lines on this, on our plan sheets here. This is the pedestrian route around. Traffic, can take mainly Washington Street around in either direction, depending on which stage. That's the primary route for vehicle traffic around, is using Washington Street.
And I think just to kind of, another comment is just, these are obviously, right now, this is what the contractor's thinking and how they want to construct this. Weather plays a huge role in this schedule. If we have a good spring, you don't have a month worth of solid rain and everything, and things will keep on. So we'll keep everybody up to date as we go. If there's if stuff starts getting delayed due to weather, the city will we'll have to update the schedule as we go. The contractor will be doing that for us anyways, so we will keep everybody in the loop. But these are obviously what we're shooting for. And I just want to make everybody aware that weather is a big role in this, especially when we start doing concrete paving and all the underground work too. Here, it sounds like the water table is pretty low, so that's a huge benefit to make sure that our sewer work can get done in a timely fashion.
Yeah, so when this is going on, obviously parking on the street will not be allowed. We're going to try and keep the pedestrian access there as long as possible. Obviously, there's going to be some elements of the construction that is going to be difficult for pedestrians to walk through or to traverse through. The sidewalk we're going to try and maintain as long as possible as we can. When a square of sidewalk gets popped out, it will be replaced with at least temporary gravel. But with that, we've identified our parking lots that are in the near facility. This map here is published on our website as well. We're encouraging people who want to visit North Main Street businesses, or if they live there, to use the Granite Street parking lot. There is also the Cooper Street parking lot, which is on the other side, the east side of Main Street. We have the back parking lot behind City Hall. And then, of course, we have a large parking lot over by the police department. So phase one or stage one, recommending using Granite Street and Cooper Street. For stage two, it's flip-flopped. It's using the parking lot down by the police department and also the parking lot around City Hall.
Justin, I think you kind of touched on this, but we do have a question in the chat. Says, will tenants have access to buildings at all times on Main Street doorways? Can you just speak to that a little more specific?
Not 100%, but we're going to try our best. There'll be times when there'll be, excavation work right in front of that doorway. I don't know, maybe Adam, you can expand on that a little bit more.
There should be access most of the time. I guess the times I see we might have some issues is when we're running the water and sewer laterals, depending on where those enter the building. Might have to open that up. Yeah, and then there'll be kind of a period when the sidewalks are moved before we get some base back in there. That might be hard to get in and out for a short time.
And then there'll also be the carrying of the concrete itself when we pour it right in front of the door. First stage, with that being in June, July, you're talking 5 to 6 hours where you can't walk before you can walk on that concrete again.
That's so far.
That's it so far. Okay. One thing to note, like, you know, if you leave your residence, if you're living upstairs and you leave first thing in the morning, you might see the crew working there. When you come back, depending on what time you come back, you may have never noticed that they did any work because the very early stages is a lot of underground work where they'll dig down, replace utility lines, and then backfill that back up. And when you get back in the evening, it looks like just a dirt road. Obviously, if you're coming and going in the middle of the day, the crews are out there working, you know, try to avoid them as much as you can. If there's no way around them, flag them down, make sure they see you. It is a live construction zone, you know, eye-to-eye contact, and they are human beings just like all of the rest of us, so they will certainly help, you know, when they see somebody that needs a little help or a little assistance. That is a thing, but also they have a job to do, and they will, you know, they need to get this work done. And you know, we know it's, construction is never a fun thing for adjacent property. It's a mess. And we're going to try and get this done as quickly as we can and as, you know, efficient as we can. So we might make a little noise, we might make a little dust, but we're going to try and get this thing done and get out of the way as quick as we can.
So we do have, I do see a comment on there. We do not have another access to the apartments. We will reach out to you, Pat, and we'll have a conversation and try to work together to make sure that we can make it as, you know, work as seamlessly as we can from both sides. And we're making a note right now to have that conversation within the next couple days. So you can expect to hear from us.
Yeah, and actually, you know what? That reminds me, I did send out letters to the business owners downtown asking for their information, contact information, and for their tenants. You know, so we have that information, the ones that did respond. So we will use that contact information to contact either you or the tenants in these situations. So as Blake had mentioned, you know, concrete curing, if we know we're going to be pouring concrete next Monday, certainly we'll let you know and let you know when you cannot walk on that concrete. That will happen. Hopefully you'll be able to work your schedule around it. We understand that there are some people that have special needs or may have special accommodations. And again, it's just the line of communication with us, the city, and also with Blake and these contractors.
Justin, I'm not seeing any other comments right now. Do you want to give just a quick update on your communication plan and when people can expect to see some communication, where they can go for it? I know you've made an effort to make sure you get it out a couple times a week. So.
Yeah, so right now we have, like I said, we have a running list or a big list of phone numbers and emails, and you know, I thank the people who have responded. That really helps us. We are going to do weekly emails. We use Constant Contact, and we have that list. With the project, Blake does a weekly update that they do. That's an internal thing with the DOT, and I'll be receiving those from him, and I will help distribute that. We'll be posting stuff on Facebook quite a bit. We'll be putting stuff on our website. What did I miss? Oh, video, yep. I plan on doing a weekly update with Josh on our community updates on our weekly updates. So if you can, we have a lot of information on our website. And so if you just go to the City of Waupaca website, scroll down, right here on the very front here on the right is Downtown Reconstruction Project. You can click there, anybody that has internet access, and there's all this information about downtown. There is a way to sign up for these email updates right here. Put your email in there, your phone number, and that comes directly to us, and then you will be included on these updates into the future. So that, like when we mentioned at the very beginning, like this information will be on our website. This is where it will be on the website, this downtown tab.
All right, next question. Is excavation by the buildings only for the water and sewer laterals, or is there a fair amount of wall and foundation exposure?
There is some, there's an item for fixing and repairing or filling in old coal chute openings, which are identified as some of the different buildings. But that's not all of them.
And it'll be, and really the biggest excavation is going to be for any laterals going into the buildings. And I know that Justin had mentioned in a separate meeting that you guys are going to be doing some updates to some of the laterals. So that's going to definitely expose some of the foundations of these buildings. How much that is going to depend on the depth of that existing lateral. So, but yeah, there will be some exposure.
Well, there's a company going around doing, was it crack and damage surveys or what was the term?
Yeah.
That's
Crack and
correct.
damage?
Yep, crack
Yep.
and damage surveys. Yep.
Yep. So that, can you guys please gloss over what that does again, please?
Sure. So there's a company going around, Vibertech, which is part of the DOT contract. They're going around and they're taking interior pictures, videos of the condition of the building at this point in time. And the idea is that if there's some damage that occurs during the construction period, that would then show up obviously and be a change of condition, when they come back and they're going to do a closing survey at the end of the project, and you should be able to see a difference between one and the other, and then we can determine, and then from there you can try to determine what the cause of that was, and depending on what type of work was there. It's really just used as kind of as a baseline for damage to any sort of building. So it's there to help everybody, the contractor, the city, to make sure that if there is any damage to buildings, that we can try to mitigate it as much as possible or go from there. So we do appreciate everybody that allowed this company in there to do that, and that's what it's used for, essentially.
So I have another question on here. Is there a plan for added signage for people to know how to get to businesses, whether parking lots or alley access? This is something
Yeah.
both Justin and I and staff member Rhonda Rollins have been working on, and also the Chamber of Commerce and Terry Schultz. So our GIS coordinator, Rhonda, has created maps that will be put in every parking lot, and it's going to have a QR code on it so people can scan those maps for any updated news and such that comes with the Main Street project. I know there is actually a graphic being made, I think it was talked about today in one of your guys' meetings, that does show the businesses and what locations they're in, and does give an idea of what parking lot to go to for a specific business or what might be closer. Now, I guess I will say that I don't know if we have a 100% idea right now of which businesses exactly are planning to use those back accesses, and we're gonna stay in communication with businesses along Main Street, and we would love to know that. And we have no problem sharing that information as we move throughout this project. So, I also, speaking to the parking, I know another thing staff has been working towards is trying to find, some of these parking lots are located in, a block or two off of the main drag or off of Main Street. We've been in discussions about having a UTV or something that is able to transport people. We've also been in discussions about blocking off some stalls that are closer to the storefronts for people who might have a tougher time walking that block. So we'll get details out on that in our weekly communication as Justin provides that. As those things solidify, we'll be letting everybody know.
more
Yeah,
minutes just in case. All right, we'll hang on for a couple more minutes if somebody's thinking about what to type. Yeah. That's what he was talking.
But there'll be signs out there.
Yeah, we have.
You know,
What you already mentioned?
so I already mentioned the signage and the parking lots. Just one internal conversation we're having here. I mentioned the signage that's going to be in the parking lots and the QR code that'll help people out. But there will also be signage along the pedestrian detour route that can get people to the access of the building. So that will be something that will aid anybody looking to get through to a Main Street storefront. So that'll be something you guys can look for. Got a couple more questions. Will spaces be reserved in the City Hall lot for library patrons? We are going to be using all of our parking capacity around City Hall and around our city lots that are north and by the firehouse. We have not talked about specifically blocking off any spaces for library patrons. I know.
Curbside pickup.
Well,
We'll be
that
continuing
curbside
on with
pickup,
that.
yeah, that'll continue as it has. That has not been something that's been set aside at this point. I do know that we will talk about taking up many or much fewer spaces from a staffing standpoint. We'll have staff in all of those vehicles, maybe park at the St. Mary's lot or somewhere a couple blocks away, so we don't tie up those spaces all day. So that will be one thing that can help.
You want me to touch on this again?
Go ahead.
Clarify that.
Yeah.
So up on the screen, we had mentioned this detour route or signage going to and from the businesses. This is something that we created, a little mixture of the DOT plans plus city plans. This is a little bit more complicated than what most people need to see, but what it does, or I'm showing to you, is point out is we're going to have these sandwich boards out there. We have these signs that kind of point out which way you should be going, whether or not you are trying to find a place to park or a place to walk. This is it in a nutshell. The signs look like this. Big blue parking. The QR code's going to be down in the bottom right. So if you have a smartphone, pretty much all of them pick up. You know, it says Main Street businesses with an arrow, you know, directing people to the parking and back and forth to the businesses. Those are the details of that detour and parking around the construction zone.
So I do have another question here. Can you please review the 3-week closing of Fulton in May?
The 3-week closing, we're calling stage 1B, right, gentlemen?
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, we would need to close the Fulton Street intersection again around the middle of May to finish the storm sewer removal and replacement, the water main removal and replacement, and then the grading work and all the new concrete would get installed at that time during that closure. The initial closure in March is needed just to tie in the sanitary sewer to keep the sewer working through that whole time while we work on the north part. That's the reason for the 2 separate closures of it.
So it's a total, if I remember from this afternoon, a total of about 22 days, right? So that the first 3 days will be the first thing we do starting March 29th, the closure of Fulton, and then in May, we'll have that 19-day closure.
Yes, that's correct.
I do have another question. Will the farmer's market be moved for the summer? Yeah, good question. All these are good questions. Right now, we are working with the farmer's market coordinator to see if we can use the old, what was known as Midtown Motors parking lot for the farmer's market. That has not been, it's not been acted on by council, but I do expect it to come to council within the next couple weeks. So.
Do you want me to show that or no? No? Okay. Okay. Do you want to talk about other events?
Yeah, I can do that too. Will there be a time that water sewer can't be used?
Yeah, there will be sometimes, very limited. And from what we know of the project, water shutoffs take about a few hours during a switchover. Allow Adam to add if he'd like, but a sewer is not necessarily you cannot use it, but maybe during a certain period of time, we ask you to maybe adjust your laundry schedule or use the bathroom now because we're going to be working on it, that sort of thing. But the heads up notification, a day or two, will be provided as we can, unless it's an emergency situation. Sometimes those do come up, but on a normal operation, we give you a couple days heads up. We let you know when that water or sewer is shut off, and it's usually just a matter of hours, not like it's full days.
Justin just leaned over before that question and asked if I wanted to cover anything about special events. During 2021, as you guys know, there's many special events in the Main Street downtown area, including Strawberry Fest, Arts on the Square, Oktoberfest. We're working with all those organizers, and some of them have been confirmed as far as locations, others have not, but none of them will be right directly in the Main Street or City Hall area. We will not be closed, once one section of street opens, like let's say North Main Street opens after that 3.5-month mark, we're not going to go back and close that for an event later in the summer. We're going to come up, we are working with them on alternate locations. So that we are trying to keep them in the downtown vicinity so we can get people down here this summer. And there has been an effort on all parties to do that without negatively impacting the flow that will exist as a part of the project. I'm going to go same thing with that next question, city band concerts and the bandstand. Again, alternative locations for our events that are down in the downtown area, and that will be similar. All right, we'll hang out for a little bit in case any other questions come up. As we do that, I want to thank everybody for tuning in here. This will be able to be posted for anyone who that could not attend tonight virtually. We will post this, and the recording will be accessible. And as always, feel free to reach out to us with questions. That's what we're here for. But it is great to see that some people tuned on, and I think we got 36 eyes, different computers logging in right now, it looks like. And the questions have been good ones, so we appreciate that.
I'll just, if there's not going to be any more questions, thank the community for being patient with us through this entire thing. It's been a long time coming. We're looking forward to getting this project started. we're looking forward to getting this done and having our Main Street look much nicer once we're done. So, again, any questions, comments, anything at all, please feel free to reach out to me or to us sitting here at this table.